friends, I know monster season's over, but I couldn't resist colouring in this guy from my Monsters pack. Lab Assistant. Well, obviously he's a little bit Frankensteinish, and I'm immediately going to go with greens for the skin. I'm thinking a dark jacket, some nice brown shoes, and I'm going to offset those greens with maybe some pinks or lavenders. This is my plan. Let's get to it. All right, I'm going to try a blend. I'm going to blend maybe these three greens. I've got a yellow green, a pale green, and a vivid green. I'm going to start down with the lightest and work into that. And I'm going to start on his hands, maybe leave his face for later, once I've worked out my blends and stuff. I'm bringing in my pale green. I think I might go darker near the top. That's a little bit darker, so I'm going to try and blend that back in with the lighter colour, which is the pale green. Yeah, I think that's going to work well. All right, I'm happy with that. While I'm doing that sort of blend, I might fill his bottle up with some lovely green. I just wanted to emphasise these divots in his head, which is why I've sort of shadowed him with the darker green. Before I go into the rest of his face, I'm just thinking I'm going to get like a rose pink, a light pink colour, and just add a little bit of pink around his eyes, which I can then blend into. And maybe even a little bit inside his ears. It's just a little bit of underpainting to try and give a bit of differentiation in there. All right, and then we're back into our yellow-green. I just want to leave the slightest bit of pink around his eye there. And while that's wet, I might just come back in it with some of this darker green, which is pale green. See how that pink disappears in amongst the greens, but it sort of gives a bit of richness, which is what I was after. I might give some shadows under the eyes, maybe some shadowing on the nose. Just all these crevices in his face, I think, deserve a little bit of attention with shadow. Now this lip, I'm imagining, he's got a bit of an underbite, so I'm going to have the light shining on it, so I'm going to leave this nice and light on top, shadow underneath it. And the same with this little bit of chin there. And I might even bring some of that darker vivid green into this. Just bring that pale green back to blend it a little. I just realised he's looking a little bit like the Incredible Hulk, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. And you know, I'm just going to knock back that green around his eye, that pink around his eye, sorry, a little bit more with this green. All right, well, there's my greens for now. For now, I'm going to look at those boots. I'm going to bring in a couple of nice rich browns, like terracotta and a brick brown. But before I do that, I might grab a grey, like a green grey or a blue grey. You know, this sort of mid-tone blue grey. Just give him some nice dark soles on these shoes. That was a blue-grey 069. This is a blue-grey 170. Just a shadow underneath the boots there. And now I get into my terracottas and my brick browns. Let's start with the terracotta. Now I'm bringing in my brick brown. I'm just going to shadow that a little bit and make that insole. I don't know what this part of the shoe's called, not being a cobbler and all. Upper sole. Now I might do these little things with another dark brown. Maybe they're ostrich skin on the outside there. Only the finest of boots for our little friend. Maybe make this patch terracotta too while we're at it. I'm thinking those blue greys might be a fun thing to play with his jacket on. I might go in that green grey. So let's just play with this arm. We'll highlight the light at the top. I guess the light's coming from here because this thing seems to be sparking away. So I might just colour it all in that colour and then come back in with the darker ones. Starting with the least dark. Blend that a little bit smoother. And maybe even bring in some of that darker blue, grey. It's a very imposing sort of Jack duffel coat, isn't it? Jacket, duffel coat, whatever it is he's wearing. I'll start with this arm. Come meet in the middle with his. This would be the hardest part to colour. There's the details all there, and they're big slabs of colour, which can always be a challenge. I'm tempted to put like a hot pink vest on him, but I'm not going to do that because I think that would be that's something I would regret, although I would enjoy putting that hot coloured pink on immediately. Maybe I'll give him hot pink socks just to make up for the fact that I'm not going to give him the vest. I think pink works well because it's like the contrast colour to the green. I love playing contrast colours in the same illustration because they seem to make each other pop. And then we've got to come up with what colour we want the buttons to be. That'll be a fun decision. I like just that dark under his chin. Leave some of that light there. This dark colour is always a challenge to blend, I find. And I'll just put a touch of this blue-grey 170 in. And make sure to blend it. And then I'll just repeat that over here. And I'll just play a little bit with that darker colour. Oh, that's great. I love how the green-grey is marrying this, helping us to merge the greens in his face. So that all sort of becomes a lovely little, it's all working colour coordinatedly. I've never used this colour, it's Indian blue, but it's a lovely colour. I'm going to make his jeans Indian blue. Or jeans, chinos, slacks. Not sure what lab assistants wear. Maybe it should have been white. Maybe this guy should be in a white coat. Maybe he's more a henchman than a lab assistant, so maybe he needs to loom in a dark coat, whereas the doctor gets to have the white coat. Just going to put a little bit of that blue here. just for fun. Now I did threaten to have some pink socks, didn't I? So I'm going to do it. A little bit of rose pink, but then I'm going to bring in some vivid, some light violets. And even some deep violets. Oh, lovely. And you know, I'm going to do the same thing for the whatever it is in that vial. Well, I'm going to bring those same colours into. This is going to be a red seal. And look, those could, you know, be confused as being red. Have you tried? And I'm going to bring some of that terracotta in for a lovely little bit of cork action. All right, now I've got all this metal, so I think I'm going to bring in my cool greys. I've got all of my 3 cool greys, and I might just kick off with this pole. And I think I'm going to try and bring in some of this yellow green that I had here. Just want to tinge that in. Because what I'm thinking is I'm going to make those sparks that beautiful green colour. So they'll be that light will be reflecting off this grey metal, which I think works well. So we're giving a slightly darker cool grey in. Maybe even a darker for just where it goes into shadow down here and underneath there. That might be a fold of his jacket. Should probably go and make that jacket material. Now all that's left really is the buttons. What colour do we do these buttons? Maybe we do them some of that yellow grey, but before I go deep down into the yellow grey, I might bring in some melon yellow. So they're sort of brassy. I should probably colour more neatly. So it's a greeny tinged brass button. I think I'm going to do, give him some yellow fingernails too. So I think it's too warm. I might go like a brown grey, if I could just find it. I had it in my hand moments ago. Brown grey for his fingernails. Maybe some brown grey on his teeth as well. I'm pretty sure he's got some pretty poor dental hygiene. I'm just going to bring this grey in to give some little bit of texture. This is the lightest cool grey. Maybe a little bit darker cool grey just to fill in the shadows, bring dimensionality to that. All right, let's talk texture. I'm really wanting to bring some of this, make this like one of those, you know, the duffel coats that have that rough textured fabric. Maybe stitches in his jacket here. Maybe I should have done his arms all green. Then he really would have looked like the Hulk. Feel free to make your arms the colour of his face and hands. And then give him a pink jacket, a pink vest. Yeah, I think that texture makes it look really good. Now I'm going to do the same with texture to his green spots. His green spots. I'm just going to add some, we'll call them monster spots. I might bring the darker green into those darker areas. I just got a white ink pen. I'm going to do some highlighting because I like to do that. And I always start on the right side if I'm highlighting, otherwise I'll just smudge it all. So if I drew here and then drew across it, smudge it. So you, if you're right-handed, would maybe go the opposite way. There he is, our lab assistant, fully coloured. You can get this guy in the PDF download on my website, rjhampson.com, in the Monsters pack. I've titled this illustration Lab Assistant, and I thoroughly enjoyed colouring that in. I recommend that you grab a copy and colour your own in. I appreciate you watching, thanks so much, and I shall see you in another video. Bye guys.